did my alarm, and I woke up at like 7:30, and then I thought I left the candle on all night. I didn't, so I like rushed out of the bedroom. My hair is wild. I washed it. I'm feeling much better, better rested. Anywho, let's do this. 11 here. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. We have peppermint black tea. I have spearmint tea, and I really like that, but it's obviously like a green tea. So interesting. By unpopular opinion, I think chocolate and mint together is criminal. I don't like Thin Mints. Like my favorite Girl Scout cookies were the Tagalongs and the Samoas. We'll see. So I have, oh, let me show you my mug today. I think I showed you the companion of this one's just stripes, thrifted. So it's a good solid mug. It's like a good weight, good handle. I think it's not 4 ounces. It's like an 8-ounce mug or so. But let's see. Yeah, I was gonna say like I didn't boil my water. I did. So we'll see what this tastes like. I mean, I shouldn't be too worried because any of the like flavorings have not been so like overpowering. Like we've been fine. So I'm gonna like take off all these like flapping numbers. I honestly don't know what I'm gonna share today. I started doing this to myself, and I was like, you know what, Alma? Why are you making yourself suffer? I am DNFing Vicious by B. Schwab's. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the story, and nothing wrong with the writing, nothing wrong with it at all in any way. I don't have any complaints to give. None. Let me make that very, very clear. But I'm not in the mood, and I am a mood reader. I am. In 2020, when I read like 200 plus books, I'm incapable of doing that anymore, honestly. But when I read 200 plus books, it was like mafia romance after mafia romance. Then it was like historical. Then it was back to mafia. Then it was like unhinged things, reverse harem. Like I read a lot. And I got burnt out. So that's one thing I really don't want to do. And not that I got burnt out from like reading too much of something, but I got burnt out from reading so much, which, you know, if you read one book a year, you're reading. You know, there's that conversation going around of like, oh, I didn't read enough, or wow, so-and-so read 100 books and I only read 5 books. I mean, you got to read, so like that's the biggest focus. I don't even know how many books I read. I read a couple books earlier this year. You know what? Let's do that. Let's go over what I've read this year and my review. That's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to finish my tea, and I'm going to head to my computer and pull up my Goodreads account so I can kind of like, you know, it's going to be a long video, so buckle in. Okay, I'm at my desk. First, let me taste test the tea. Kind of like the water like cool down. I boiled the water too early before I started filming, but let's try out peppermint black tea. It's okay. It's good. Not really tasting that peppermint or whatever. But okay, so that this video is not like a million hours long, I'm gonna break it up into parts. I didn't read that many. Supposedly, according to my Goodreads, I only read 10 books, which out of my 40 goal, which that is not true at all, in my opinion. So, and like, I don't use Goodreads that often, to be honest. I just mark in like I read it, and maybe I leave a 5-star review, maybe I even leave a written review, but it's more just like for record keeping. I'm not like super like avid reviewer or anything like that, because clearly, as you've seen in my videos, I'm terrible at it. soften it because my hair is like insane right now. It's fine. I love it. Okay, so according to my Goodreads, again, like I have from like recent a book that I read, like it's telling me that I read it this year when I read it like 10 years ago. So it's weird. I don't really like it. I'm gonna have to oh, that's another good video idea. Can share with you all the book reading apps that and stuff that I use personally. I might do that. Anyway, so apparently I started reading in March of this year. Again, I'm still recovering from a very heavy book slump, a very bad burnout from reading, and also just what I was reading. I am a romance reader through and through. I love it. It has a special place in my heart. I love the feeling that I get when reading romance, of just people falling in love and like the will they won't they. Of course I love. I'm not a closed door. I will read it, you know. I'm not like against it or anything like that. But I read on page smut, to be blunt. I have a confession. But I guess maybe just there is too much, and I don't know what I. It's hard to pinpoint like what happened, but it just after I would finish reading, it left me more feeling like crap than like the good feeling of reading a romance for me personally. So then that kind of I just like stopped reading, and as you'll see in some of the things that I mentioned of what I read, it's not so like romance heavy based. It's more story, more world building, and that was just a breath of fresh air. And let me tell you, I will read oh my god, what's her name? I think oh she writes novellas. Oh, I will read a Jessica Kane in a heartbeat. Like like you don't understand. I will read Jessica Kane in a heartbeat. Okay, she's one of my favorites. Just like quick reads, quick, you know, satisfying reads and everything. But let's see here. No, I'm on page. No, I'm on page 2. Okay, so I'm gonna put a picture here of what I read and kind of just. I'm not really gonna give like a synopsis of it too much. I'm not very good at that. That's what you're looking for, maybe go elsewhere because I'm terrible at that. Honestly, I do my best. I do my best. Anywho, I'm gonna try to be quick. I really don't want this video to be super super long. So the first book I read in March was Secret Vampire from the Night World series by L.J. Smith. She wrote The Vampire Diaries, which I love the show, never read the books, and I thrifted her volumes of this, and I read the first one. I gave it a 4-star. It's very YA, very simple writing. It was really good. I had a good time. It was good. So that is what I read. I gave it a 4-star review. And then from my own no, I didn't even rate it actually. I take that back from the other book. I didn't even rate this one, but I would give it a 4-star. It was like fun, it was different. I love vampire stuff. That's one of my OG like go-to back in the day. Next, I read this Wicked Curse from my Kindle. I think it's on Kindle Unlimited. It's by Amanda Aggie, and it is fairy tale retelling, and this one is this is Hook retelling, so not like, so Peter Pan's the bad guy, so this is kind of like the villain's story, and they're not actually villainous. It was really good, really fun. I've read a couple of Peter Pan retellings, and I really enjoyed that one. I highly recommend. It is, you know, it's violent. There's smut on page. You know, it's quite raunchy. Spice-wise, I'd give it like a 2 or 3 chili pepper. It was really good. And then what kind of like fully triggered my reading to like go full force, which I've mentioned it several times, was Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. Every time I think about that, like my heart palpitates. It was so good. And how I've mentioned it before, how I came about it. Reads with Rachel sat down with her husband. I've linked the video before, I'll link it again. I really recommend you check out her page. You might find a lot of recommendations there. She sat down with her husband and they like love that series. Like they're diehard fans. Like they read it together. Her husband's like obsessed with it and all that stuff. And I had just seen that first book one, which is book one is An Ember in the Ashes. I saw it at my local thrift store for $1, and I had picked it up, and the reviews were like mixed on Goodreads, which I try my best not to do that because you know the beauty's in the eye of the beholder. One book could be like a 5-star read to the next person could be a 2-star read. You really won't know until you like try it out. And I have no regrets. I might be emotionally a little more damaged than before, but it was amazing. It was amazing. So I'm gonna kind of put all four. So Ember in the Ashes, A Torch Against the Night is book 2, A Reaper at the Gates is book 3, and A Sky Beyond the Storm is book 4. So good. I was weeping at the end. I was just like, I was in shambles, I mean, the amount of tragedy, that's my only, the series as a whole, 5 out of 5. Most of the books were 5 out of 5. I think towards the end, it was like a 4.5 out of 5 for me because the amount of tragedy that happened really was not necessary, in my opinion. Okay, like I could have done without. Like it's just a little like, do you hate the characters or what? And then later, as like I started reading reviews, kind of like that like sparkly, you know, sparkly anime eyes kind of cleared away, and there was other things in the story that were like, okay, that could have been polished out a little bit. But otherwise, it was amazing. And apparently, I did not finish this book, so I'm not even gonna mention it. And then I'm gonna like just kind of lump this all together. And then I came across Anne Bishop, which is a new author to me, a new favorite. I love everything. I read 5, hold on, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've read 8 of her books. No, there's more than that. No, yeah, 8. Yeah, I read 8 of her books back to back to back, and like I just couldn't stop. It was such, especially, I don't know, like I needed that disassociation badly, I guess. So, and I have a video, I'll put it in the cards here. I don't know if I can put multiple videos in the cards or how, I don't know how to do that, but I made a whole video or 2 about this series. It's the Others series by Anne Bishop. I picked up book 1 at my local Barnes and Nobles because the building was closing down to move to another location, so they were trying to clear out as much inventory as possible to make the move easier, I assume, because they didn't go past like 40% off or 50% off or anything like that. But I picked up the mass paperback, written in red. I most definitely want the whole series in my collection because I will be rereading it, most definitely. And it is like shifter. I can't even put into words the impact this story, like just what was going on, the different way it was told about vampires and shifters and how they are the hierarchy. And I'm not doing it justice. I just highly recommend it. It is a very, very slow burn. I mean, it's more of like developing a friendship and trust, then it leads to love of the 2 main characters, but it's like nothing, absolutely nothing happens till God, I think till like literally the end. But you fall in love with every character. You want to know more. It's kind of like almost a little mundane of like what's going on, but then big things are happening that are just like get you thinking and stuff like that. I can't get enough. I was actually talking to my husband a couple days ago. I was like, call me crazy, and I am not. Let me tell you now, I am not a rereader at all. Like now in my adulthood, I've reread a couple books and I've enjoyed it, but I want to go back to that world so bad, you have no idea. And then the other part of that series, which is still in the world, but it's after this huge thing happened, which I'm not going to reveal it. It's called The World of the Others, and goes into different parts of the country that it's based in, or like the land. So we have Lake Silence, Wild Country, and Crowbones. So good. And even in, she came out with a book this year of all her short stories, of stories she like wrote long ago, but like never did anything about, and she published all of them. She has like a Christmas special from the Others series, which was so nice to read, to like go back. And then to Lakeside. Oh my God, I want to read it again so bad. And then we get introduced. It could have been a whole story. Like, it was so good. It was so good. Just kind of like touching base of like what's going on and how the other civilizations are coping with this crazy thing that happened. I was on the edge of my seat. I was listening to an audiobook. I could not. Nothing was done. Let me just say. All responsibilities to the wayside. But yeah, it's okay. So I'm gonna stop there. Video's getting quite long. So I will put pictures of everything as I've spoken about them. But I would say, you know, like, yes, I didn't, yeah, but this is way more than 10 books. Like, why, according to like my goal, it's so strange. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I know I read more than 10 books. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna finish my cup of tea. It was, I'd give it a 6, 5.5 out of 10. Again, it's good. Actually, it's not like a bad combination, the peppermint and the black tea, but oh, now I'm feeling a little bit more of the peppermint. It's getting a little like breathy cold or whatever. Not anything crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna end here. I can like just go on and on. So tomorrow's video, I'll probably continue like whatever else I read and share, and my thoughts on everything. And yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed today's video of like my ramblings and sharing what I read this year. I would say this year, even though I'm again not even close to what I used to read, which is fine. I think I won't get there until like I'm retired and my son's like grown up or whatever. But I discovered amazing authors this year. I read amazing stories that took me to amazing worlds and just really helped me disassociate appropriately and safely. You know, so yeah, tune in tomorrow and I will share the rest of like what I read, and a lot of what I read actually I have videos on my channel of like my reviews and stuff like that. So but yeah, I will, you know, hope you are reading something amazing. I started a new book. I'll talk about that tomorrow. And I hope you make something beautiful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.